Imagine a technological breakthrough, one so big it was kept top secret for years. A breakthrough that could power an entire nation for, get this, 20,000 years. Today, we're diving into China's thorium revolution. So late 2025 rolls around, and Chinese state media drops this really simple, almost cryptic statement. But, behind just a few words was something huge. The final result of a secret, decade-long project to crack one of the biggest challenges in energy. So what was this huge secret all about? Well, the news was that China had fired up the world's only active thorium-based molten salt nuclear reactor. This wasn't just another power plant. We're talking a whole new ballgame for nuclear power.
And, they kept this thing under wraps for a very good reason. It's kind of their signature industrial move. They don't do hype, they don't make flashy announcements about things that might work. They wait until it's not just an idea, but a reliable, working reality.
Okay, so you gotta ask why. Why pour all this time and money into a totally new kind of reactor? Well, it all boils down to one huge, critical vulnerability they absolutely had to solve.
For ever, nuclear power has meant one thing: uranium, right? But here's the catch. For a country like China, with its absolutely enormous energy needs, relying on a fuel when you control less than 4% of the world's supply? Yeah, that's not just a problem, that's a massive strategic nightmare.
This situation, some people even call it uranium poverty, and it's a huge, huge risk. I mean, if you want real energy security for the long haul, you've got to control your own fuel source, right? So that's exactly why they put their best minds on the job. Find another way. And that brings us to the alternative, thorium. So let's get into it. What makes this stuff so special? Why is it the perfect answer to China's big energy problem? I mean, just look at the difference here. It's night and day. Uranium, super scarce in China. Thorium, they've got tons of it. Uranium waste is a nasty long-term headache. Thorium waste, way, way less dangerous. It's just a much, much smarter strategic choice. And this chart really drives the point home. Look at that tiny little bar for uranium. It's a drop in the bucket compared to what they need. But thorium, whoa, that bar is huge. They're sitting on one of the world's largest supplies. The fuel is literally right there, under their feet.
But it's not just about the fuel. The reactor design itself is a total game changer. For one, these things run at normal atmospheric pressure, which is a massive safety upgrade. Plus, they don't need a gazillion gallons of water to cool down, so you could build one in the middle of a desert. And like we said, the waste problem is just so much smaller.
So hearing all this, you're probably thinking what I'm thinking, right? If this is so amazing, why are we only hearing about it now? Why didn't someone do this 50 years ago?
Well, there's a reason. A huge technical roadblock. And it wasn't a small one. It was a problem so tough that even the United States, which was looking into this stuff way back in the 20th century, couldn't crack it. They just gave up.
The big bad guy in this story is something called fluoride salt corrosion. See, to make the reactor work, you have to dissolve the thorium fuel in this super hot liquid salt. And this molten salt, it's like the most corrosive acid you can imagine times 1,000. It just wants to eat through everything.
So let me put it this way. The very fuel you need to run the reactor would literally dissolve the reactor from the inside out. The standard stainless steel you'd use in a normal nuclear plant, it would be toast in under 3 months. Gone. You just can't run a power plant that you have to rebuild every season. It's impossible. So you see the challenge, right? The whole dream of thorium power was locked behind this one door, the corrosion problem. And the key wasn't about nuclear physics, it was a material science problem. They had to invent a material that basically didn't exist yet. And that is exactly what they did. After years and years of research, Chinese scientists created something totally new, a special nickel-based alloy. Think of it like a secret recipe for a metal that could finally stand up to that incredibly brutal environment inside the reactor. And just look at the difference here. This is what's so wild. Standard steel, see in 3 months, maybe less. This new stuff, it's built to last for decades. That's not just an improvement. That's the difference between a failed science experiment and a power plant that can light up a country. So what's the magic ingredient? Well, the exact formula is, of course, a state secret, but what we do know is that a specific type of rare earth element is a crucial part of the mix. And that's the punchline. This whole revolution didn't come from splitting atoms in a new way. It came from inventing a new kind of metal.
Okay, so they solved the problem that stumped the world for 50 years. What's the payoff? What does this all add up to? Well, the final number is, honestly, it's almost hard to wrap your head around.
Just take a look at this. 20,000.
That's how many years this tech could power China, using only the thorium it has at home. Let that sink in for a second. Not 20 years, not 200, 20,000 years. We're talking about a level of energy independence that's on a completely different timescale from anything we've ever seen. This redefines long-term planning.
So, what does this all mean? It means that by solving a 50-year-old materials problem, China didn't just fix its own biggest energy weakness. No, they may have just kicked open the door to a whole new era of nuclear power for the entire world. Safer, more sustainable, this single breakthrough could literally redraw the global energy map for generations.